Somewhere in your past, there's a version of you who would call your current life rich, and you've never once stopped to tell them they were wrong. Think back. There was a number once. Maybe you said it out loud. Maybe you only thought it. When I make this much, I'll relax. When I hit that salary. When the debt's gone. When the account finally shows 6 figures. That number was a finish line, and crossing it was supposed to feel like arrival. Maybe you've already crossed it. Statistically, many of you have. And yet here you are, watching a video called Why You Never Feel Rich, which means the finish line moved. It didn't just move, it moved quietly, without asking you, and then it erased the evidence that it was ever anywhere else. This isn't a video about budgeting. It's about a glitch in your psychology that guarantees, mathematically, almost mechanically, that no income will ever feel like enough. We'll take that glitch apart, piece by piece. And by the end, I'll show you the one definition of rich that actually survives contact with the human brain. And exactly how to use it. Not a number, a ratio, the moving finish line of enough. Here's an experiment you've already run on yourself, whether you know it or not. Whatever you earn right now, think of the you from 5 or 10 years ago. Show them your current income, your current apartment, your current phone. To them, this is the promised land. This is the after photo. So why does it feel like the before? Because enough was never a number. It was a feeling you attached to a number. And the feeling stayed exactly one step ahead of you the whole time. When researchers ask people how much money they'd need to feel secure, the answers rhyme across every income level. Roughly 2 to 3 times whatever they currently have. Ask someone making $50,000, they say 100. Ask someone making $500,000, they say 1,000,000, maybe more. The multiple barely changes, only the target scales. Notice what that means. The problem was never the distance to the line. The problem is that the line is tethered to you. It isn't a place, it's a shadow, and you cannot outrun your own shadow by running faster. There's a modern twist that makes this worse than it was for your parents. Their finish line moved too, but slowly, updated by neighbors and relatives a few times a year. Yours updates in real time. Every scroll recalibrates it. Every day in my life video, every screenshot of someone's portfolio, every 26-year-old announcing an exit. Your definition of enough is now edited daily by strangers, whose entire job is to look further ahead of you than they actually are. So the first honest question isn't, why haven't I reached enough? It's, why does enough keep leaving? And the first answer lives inside your own nervous system, your resetting baseline. In the 1970s, psychologists studied 2 groups of people you'd expect to have nothing in common: lottery winners and accident victims who'd become paralyzed. The prediction was obvious: permanent euphoria for one group, permanent despair for the other. What they found broke the prediction. Within months, both groups had drifted back toward their old baseline of happiness. The winners weren't floating, the victims weren't drowning. Everyone was adapting. This is hedonic adaptation, and it isn't a flaw in you, it's the operating system. Your brain doesn't measure your life in absolutes. It measures change. The raise feels incredible for 6 weeks. Then the new salary becomes the wallpaper of your life. And wallpaper is invisible. The bigger apartment stops being the bigger apartment and becomes simply the apartment. Your baseline resets silently and takes the joy with it as an administrative fee. Evolution built you this way for a reason. An ancestor who stayed permanently satisfied stopped striving, and striving kept you alive. But the machinery that once kept you hunting now keeps you hollow. You are running on a treadmill that speeds up to match your legs and calling it progress. Here's the part almost nobody tells you. Adaptation is asymmetric, and you can exploit that. Your brain adapts fast to things, the car, the watch, the square footage, because things are constant, and constants disappear. It adapts far more slowly to variety, experience, and anticipation. This is why the memory of one trip can outlast the pleasure of 3 upgrades. It's why people who spend on experiences, on time saved, on removing daily friction, consistently report more durable satisfaction than people who spend on objects. The object becomes wallpaper. The memory keeps paying interest. And there's a second exploit, older than the research. Deliberate interruption. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort. A plain meal, a cold morning, a week without the comfort you take for granted. Not as punishment, but as recalibration. Take something away briefly, and your brain re-notices it. Adaptation runs in both directions. You can reset your baseline downward on purpose, and everything ordinary becomes vivid again for free. But even a managed baseline won't save you, because your brain has a second thief. This one doesn't reset your baseline, it hijacks your reference point. Comparison, the thief that scales with you. Here's the cruelest part. Even if you could freeze your baseline, even if the raise kept feeling like a raise, you'd still never feel rich. Because you don't experience your wealth in isolation. You experience it in a lineup, and the lineup is rigged. Every time you level up, you don't compare yourself to who you used to be. You compare yourself to the new room you just walked into. The junior compares against the senior. The senior compares against the director. The director compares against the founder who sold for 9 figures. You never stand next to the people you passed. Only the people still ahead. Social scientists call this upward comparison, and success doesn't shrink the gap. It upgrades your rivals. Make more money, and your neighborhood changes, your feed changes, your dinner parties change. The reference group scales with you, automatically, like a video game raising the difficulty every time you win. Now, add the machine. Your comparison set isn't chosen by geography anymore. It's chosen by an algorithm whose only goal is your attention. And nothing holds attention like a gap between your life and a better one. The feed doesn't show you the median person. It shows you the top fraction of a percent, filtered, financed, and staged, and your ancient brain, built for villages of 150 people, processes those strangers as neighbors. You are running Stone Age comparison software against a globally optimized highlight reel. The game reports your rank against players who aren't even real, which means the comparison diet is no longer optional self-help. It's basic hygiene. Audit who you follow the way you'd audit subscriptions. Every account that reliably makes you feel behind is charging you rent in dissatisfaction. Mute it. Not because their life is fake, some of it isn't, but because your brain cannot not compare. The only lever you control is the lineup. And then there's the ratchet. A ratchet turns one way and locks. Your lifestyle is a ratchet, and it has quietly gone digital. It used to click upward in big visible moves, the car, the house. Now it clicks in silent $9 increments. The subscriptions, the deliveries, the premium tiers, the AI tools, the upgrades you stopped noticing you renewed. Modern lifestyle creep is frictionless by design. 100 small welds instead of one big one, each too small to fight. Spending rises to meet income, then welds itself there. So run the tally. Your costs ratchet up, your rivals level up, your baseline resets down. 3 mechanisms, 1 conclusion. The feeling of rich is structurally impossible as long as rich is defined as a number. Which raises the only question left worth asking. What if it isn't one? Rich is a ratio, not a number. 2,000 years ago, a Stoic philosopher wrote a line that quietly dismantles everything modern finance is built on. Wealth is not having many possessions, it is having few wants. Not a poetic flourish, a formula. Rich is not what you have. Rich is the gap between what you have and what you crave. Income minus desire. A ratio, not a number. And a ratio has 2 sides. Everything we've described, the moving finish line, the resetting baseline, the upgrading rivals, the silent ratchet, all of it attacks only one side of that ratio. It inflates desire at exactly the pace you inflate income, which is why the gap never opens. You've spent your whole life pushing on the numerator while the denominator pushed back, perfectly matched, like arm wrestling your own reflection. But the other side of the ratio is undefended. Nobody profits when you want less, so nobody advertises it. In an economy where every screen is a desire installation device, examining a want and putting it down is the one financial move with no counterparty. Every unchosen upgrade, every rival you stop tracking, every craving you trace back to the moment it was planted in you, that's wealth, created instantly, at zero cost, taxed by no one. So here's the practice, and it takes 10 minutes. Write down your number, the actual figure at which you believe you'd relax, and beside it, write why. What specifically does that number buy that today's number doesn't? Most people discover something unsettling. They can't answer. The number was never a plan. A way to postpone the question of what enough means. Then do the second half. List your 5 most expensive desires, and next to each, its origin. Did you want this before you saw someone else have it? Every desire that fails that test is a comparison wearing a costume, and you're allowed to take it off. And this matters more now than it ever has. You're living through years when incomes feel less certain than they used to. Industries reshaping around AI, careers bending mid-arc. In a world like that, the offense-only strategy isn't just exhausting, it's fragile. The person whose contentment requires next year's raise is one bad year from misery. The person who has closed the gap from the desire side is anti-fragile. Their wealth can't be laid off. This is not a sermon about wanting nothing. Ambition is fine. Build, earn, climb. Just understand what you're doing. Income is offense. Desire is defense. And you have been playing one-sided your entire life, wondering why you never win. Call to action. If this rearranged something in your head, that's what this channel exists for. Taking the systems you live inside and holding them up to the light. Subscribe if you want more essays like this one. The next idea is already waiting. Outro. So go back to the beginning. That version of you, the one who dreamed of exactly the life you're living now. They're still in there, and they still think this is rich. The tragedy was never that you didn't make it. It's that arrival is a feeling, not a place, and you keep leaving the moment you land. Maybe the finish line never moved at all.